Shae sucks.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Red Valkyrie Presents. I am Shae the Red with my jerk of a co-host over here, Alex, aka CY.borg Valkyrie. How are you, jerk face?
Good, bird brain.
Ah, you're so
First punch. I love that new intro so fucking... Oh yeah, we're over 30 seconds. I love that new intro so fucking much that I'm just sitting there staring at it and listening to it and rocking onto it, and I forget that we're even, leading into a show. So I'm like, like, hey, welcome to... I'm like, what?
Wait,
we're
what
live?
are we doing?
What happened?
Shae, you look like the third variant cover of Diani.
I try. See? You're right. I'm just saying. Give the people what they want.
Yes.
We are here with the super fucking awesome Professor Murph. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah, dude. We're excited to have you. And I'm actually a little bummed. I wish that I had time to make the bird skull just because I kind of wanted a bird skull feather headdress for no real reason.
It'd be a great
I don't know
cosplay.
where I'd put it.
Yeah, I'd love to see it in cosplay.
Wear that to
Go on.
family dinners. It's like, hi, Mom. Why are you staring?
Oh no! See, my mother would not stare. My mom goes onto fucking Amazon and she finds shit. Like, she found a feather neck collar thing that just like goes all the way up and comes out.
Oh, wow.
And she goes, "This reminded me of something that you might like." I was like, "What the fuck, Mom?" I was like, "And yeah, a little bit. Like, put it on my wish list. That's kind of cool."
Dead animals. Hey, they work.
It's because I have the most eclectic closet that you have ever seen. Partially
What's
because
up?
I'm a cosplayer.
Hail Antoine.
I love it. Look, Tony's awesome. And
Looking
that's not
japper.
the Tony that we know. Just
He's being
throw it in.
sarcastic because I'm wearing a t-shirt.
Indeed. Barbed compliment, I would say.
I'm sorry I'm not Ethan, Antoine. I can't wear a top hat and tails and all that stuff, but I will.
You
Oh,
gorge
you-
yourself with pie live.
You should have told me. I could have lent you my my top hat. That's right.
Oh,
over
nice.
there.
I'd look like Jack the Ripper or something.
It'll be fine. Just don't wear the trench coat with it. You'll be good.
Yeah.
So we are all here today to discuss War Party. And Alex, did we decide, are we playing the video or not?
Look, the companies in Beverly Hills, I don't trust them. Play the video. It's not going to play the audio because I muted it.
Okay.
It'll be
All
fine.
right. So
I just,
then,
in this day and age, I do not trust Google. I do not trust Twitter.
that's
So,
fair.
Okay, I will do the narration since you're not going to
Yeah.
play.
Yes,
why
perfect.
don't you just hum the music?
Yeah, that won't get us struck.
Everything changed when war reached the Americas. Caught between the French and the British, my family paid the price. Only my darling Sarah survived. They took her away. We couldn't save them, but we will save her. 5 men against thousands? How can it be done? But we are not merely men. War has brought out the beast in us all. And we will have our vengeance, for we are the War Party.
There you go.
That was good.
There you go. I might have gotten a copyright strike. Oh no, I shouldn't have sang. Sorry about that. No, I think that was short enough we could get away with it.
Yeah, I don't. And there was an in between where you said, "There you go," and really you just gotta break the audio for a moment.
Okay, Antoine says I look like a cross between Kevin Costner and Dana Carvey. I'm hoping more Costner than Carvey. Just hoping. Now, when I put on my long wig, I do look like Wayne or Garth from Wayne's World. Someone is not dressed in purple smoke. Yeah.
Damn, Silver! Come on, I got feathers.
Purple smoke costs money. Just saying.
We're not quite there yet. Okay, we're working on it. We're working.
Bear in mind, your super chats take 6-7 weeks. 7 weeks to catch up. Just saying.
Oh, nice little animation there.
Hey, thank you. That was
new.
Only a day of my life.
I like it.
Thank you. I like
Photoshop
it too.
does not like doing 3D. Just say that.
It's super fun.
Oh, you did that in Photoshop. Nice job.
Yes.
It's not the most animation-friendly program. I use other software for that, but you can do it.
Yes, we will be in the future. We had just kind of committed at that point, so.
Like, at that point, it was, all right, I found like 3 tutorials on how to do this, and I already made the 3D thing in Photoshop, so this is happening now. If I have to kill my computer, it will happen.
Nice.
All right, so why don't you tell us a bit about War Party?
Yeah, well, I've always been a fan, like you heard, the whole Last of the Mohicans thing. That was always one of my favorite movies. Grew up with werewolves, The Howling, movies like that, American Werewolf in London. Always loved monsters, always loved history, but usually all my comics have been historical in nature only, no fantasy at all, like based on real events, real people, things like that. So this was the first time I actually wanted to merge the two and just do a historical fantasy, adventure, horror, whatever you want to call it, type story. And so I took a little bit of Taken, where, a father's trying to get his daughter back. Mixed Taken with Last of the Mohicans and The Howling, and you've got War Party. I mean, that's really... Yeah.
Did the main character walk up to them?
I have skills. Yes, I have skills. I grow hairy and get really big. Grow teeth. No. They. What's cool is they're about twice the size of a normal human being. So they don't just turn into a werewolf. They grow about 11 or 12 feet tall. So they're huge. But it really isn't a werewolf book. I don't like to call it that because just one of them happens to be a wolf. It's a team, obviously, as you can see, of shapeshifters. And Diane, the character you're dressed as, she's the shaman. She's the power source. And so she helps them in their quest to rescue the daughter. And she has to find out what their totem is, basically like their spirit animal. Right. And whatever your totem is, that's what you can turn into. And that's the only thing you can turn into. So, if the bear puts on the wolf pelt, nothing's going to happen, right?
Right.
So it's whatever animal you're connected to or whatever animal you are. So that opens up a lot of possibilities. There's a big, huge battle scene in the last issue. They end up having to fight the French and the British, plus various tribes that are allied with the French and the British. Diane's tribe is a lost tribe that's sort of fading away, kind of like Last of the Mohicans. But they're the last tribe that has the secret to the whole skinwalker, shapeshifter abilities. So, it's gonna be great. I'm having a blast writing it and drawing it. I do everything but the colors. My colorist is Jay Brown. He works for IDW and does G.I. Joe. It's going great. I mean, I've raised almost over $21,000.
Over 21,000, yeah. And a lot since you went in demand, which is
in demand. It's really taken off. It took a while to get going, to get momentum. I had to do a lot of streaming, a lot of publicity. There were a lot of comic skaters that were holding back because they didn't know who I was, and they just weren't familiar with it, and they were nervous, and I had to really just promote it.
It seemed early mid-December that I really started hearing about it and seeing tweets about it.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm proof. I'm living proof. Even though I'm not a newcomer, I've been publishing since '92, since Image, actually, self-publishing through Diamond, actually. So I'm not a newcomer to comics, but I am a newcomer, obviously, to CG. So this is the template, in my opinion, for a newcomer. Is you don't have to necessarily come in out of the gates super strong. But you do have to if you can build a steady momentum, you can get there. my goal is 10,000, and I've more than doubled it. So, and it's not stopping. It just keeps growing every day. I'm getting more backers. So, this is great. It's a success as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, I'm very happy with it. And my backers are great. I love them all. They're just awesome. And what I did was I added some secret perks. What you're looking at there is issue 0, and Preston Osvedo did the cover for that. And you can only get that if you're a backer. You get the link to it. Half of them are gone. I'm only doing 250. Half of them are already gone.
Wow.
And it's going to be in black and white. It's not going to be in color. I wanted to do just one issue in black and white only. But it's going to supplement the other 6 issues, and it's her backstory. It goes all the way back to when Ponce de Leon landed in Florida. So she lives a long time. She ages about a year for every one of our 50. Okay, so she's been around since the 1500s and before. Oh, she was a baby before that. So it starts with the Spanish landing in Florida, looking for the Fountain of Youth.
Obviously, she found it.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I won't go any further than that, but that's where that all comes. But so what that allows me to do is not only does she have sort of the shape-shifting abilities that are given to her by this ancient shapeshifter that she finds during the 1500s, but because she doesn't age, I'm going to take her through different periods of American history going forward. The sequel to this, just to give you a little hint, takes place in 1977 in New York City. And that's all I'm going to say. So, yeah, and she'll only be about, in her late 20s, early 30s in that book. And here she's about 20 years old. So, yeah,
okay.
It's going to be exciting.
We're about to bring up something really crazy, but first
Yes.
I want to get to this question before everyone's heads explode and we start going over your perks, because I just stopped and looked at really what you're getting for these prices, and that's going to happen. So I guess the question here is, how much is left to go? You're actually selling multiple issues all in one whack here.
Correct.
You're selling 6 issues of War Party. And each one is between 22 and 30 pages from what I saw above. So how much is left to do?
I'm on issue 5. I've been working on issue 5 during the campaign. 6 is a doozy. That's the really long one. So I'm more than halfway done. I wanted to do floppies, but obviously I didn't want to ship them separately because the shipping costs would just kill the customer, right? If you're paying for every floppy to come 6 times, right? So I want to ship them all together as a mini-series, one package. Since I do everything, it's a lot of labor, it's a lot of time, but I'm not... Thanks, Antoine. Yeah, I think it's the best deal in Comicsgate, personally, for what you're getting.
Page for page, you're beating everybody's ass here.
Well, thanks. And that's why people were reluctant, honestly, at the beginning, because they're like, this is too good, something's wrong here. And I said, no, nothing's wrong. I've just been working on it on and off for a couple of years, and now I've really amped it up in the last 6 months when I was ready to launch. So I knew I had to get a lot of this done ahead of time. Now, there's still a lot of work left to do, no doubt, but I'm far enough along that I hope everyone can see, and obviously they can, that a lot of the work's been done, and it's here. And yes, there is a motion comic, because me being an animator, I love movies, I love music, and the biggest downside to comics to me is the lack of music, honestly. That's the one thing I'm like, because it's hard to get emotion out of your audience when there's no music. It's very difficult. Music is the emotional center of any movie, TV show, whatever. And so I wanted to offer this also in a motion comic form, which will obviously have to be delivered later than when this is shipped, because I'll have to finish that second, where you get the whole story put to music, frame by frame, with some limited camera work and limited animation, nothing fancy, just, multi-planing stuff. And they just give you another way to experience the story, kind of like you're watching a movie.
Jeez. I'm sorry, I'm just blown away. Like, you're doing a lot for this. You're doing so much work for this project.
I'm an animator. Trust me. I know what work is, and this is not work. Like, it's work, but it's not like doing hand-drawn animation. It
no. Definitely not. I feel you there. Like, I got into video editing when I was, back in high school. I was doing it, like, for college courses and stuff. And it always kills me because people are like, oh yeah, just throw this together real quick. And they're like, okay, you just changed this one little bit. And I'm like, that one little bit is like another 45 minutes of work for your one little bit that is a maybe want that you're then going to be like, nah, it was better the other way. And be like, I will kill you.
Yeah, I've been working.
That's Alex.
She's putting together our intro, and I'm like, that's about half a beat off right here. And she's like, 40 minutes later.
Well, it's because after you go through and you export it all, and you're like, I think it's good. And then you play and you go, it fucked up in export.
Well, I've animated.
Like,
I've done hand-drawn animation for scenes that have taken weeks that I could have drawn in one day on a comic book. In other words, you know, what you can say in one page could take weeks or even months to animate. The comparison of the amount of story you get for the time you're putting in, there is no comparison. I love animation, but it's very expensive. It takes a long time. And I've been working on a movie called Dogtown for 7 years now. It's got George Foreman in it, Jason Begay, and Stacey Dash from Clueless. They all do voices in it. Been working on it for years. Still working on it with various animators around the world. And I just was like, I got to go do something else.
Yeah.
Like I gotta just to exercise my artistic muscles. I've been drawing, the same pit bulls in this cartoon for 7 years,
Right.
So I was like, I need to go just do something completely different. And I saw what was happening with Comicsgate and Ethan and everything, and John Malin and everybody else. Like, this is exciting. Like, this is a chance to come back to comics, because I left comics 10 years ago and haven't been back. And this brought me back. So I'm glad it's been so well received. I was trying to be realistic with my goals. $10,000. It wasn't low, but it wasn't insane either.
Right.
And it's doing better than I ever could have hoped. So I'm very happy.
Well, and I gotta say, that's another big thing that you seem to have done very right. Is we get a lot of people who come in, and especially if you are used to like the professional field and you've done this in, various avenues, whether it's like you said, you come from animation and things like that. A lot of people expect it to be like a flash that's going to just take off and just, you're going to do gangbusters your first time out.
No.
And the thing is it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter if you're a name that I know and recognize, because you came from a place that I know has been very active in how much they hate all of us. And you're coming here and saying, oh, but I'm not like them. And I'm like, ooh, but people have said that before.
Right.
And, has not been the case, actually. And so there's a lot of people that get really frustrated when they don't like instantly have this massive, huge success, and they're putting up goals that are like 50K, and they're like, oh, what the hell do you mean I'm not making that? And it's like, well, I still don't know you. Like, I've seen your name around, but I don't know you. I don't know you as a person. You're just a dude.
Well, and there's been I know people have been burned. I know there have been pros that haven't delivered. I mean, it's happened.
Yep. Right. A lot.
This is not my first crowdfunding campaign, because I've done 4 others for animation. This is just my first comics crowdfunding campaign.
Right.
But what I've also done for the backers is I've given them access to my previous published works as another secret perk, and I've had about 20% of the backers order my old stuff on this campaign. That has not War Party. It's other stuff I've done. And I've already delivered it. They've got it in their hands, most of them right now. And that was 3 weeks ago. They ordered it. So I'm already trying to show them, look, I know how to produce a book. I know how to ship it. I know how to process the orders fast and get it to you. Is this going to take a lot more work? Of course. I've got a lot more to do. My goal is June to have it in their hands. But, I do whatever I can to make the backers happy immediately, because I've been doing this for years. I've dealt with subscriptions and Diamond and everything else. So
oh jeez.
Yeah, we won't get into Diamond.
yeah. We've had quite a bit of discussion on our channel about Diamond.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but the point I take away from this, I mean, there's a saying from a really horrible Sean Connery movie. What was it? Entrapment. First we try, then we trust. I think that once the audience gets these books, we're about to go over that, these books in their hands, I think your next campaign will take off even much more so.
Yeah, I hope so. And like I said, the next one's taking place in Manhattan in 1977. Actually, during the blackout, I don't know if you remember, but all of Manhattan went dark for 3 days.
If anyone, well, first of all, if anyone's not that old, just watch Men in Black. They talk about it.
Yeah.
The blackout in New York.
It's the perfect place to put this type of subject, let me tell you, because there was some freaky stuff going on in New York City in 1977. Kind of like today, but freakier than today. Question for Professor Murph. I have no storage space. No, Undead Ramen, I am not offering digital. I know there's pro-digital and anti-digital people. I'm a tangible. Here's my thing. If you want digital, order the motion comic. Now the motion comic's an add-on, so I mean you still got to order the book, but I'm just not a fan of digital. I never have been. I don't intend on ever probably offering any of my books digitally. I never have. I'm a big believer in I want people to buy the physical product and have it in their hands. So that's just the way I roll. So.
Yeah, and I can understand that. We've had people on that are vehemently against it. We have people on that don't care either way. We've had people on that love digital and that's what they prefer. I like having digital so I can take it with me when I go places, but not at the expense of owning a physical copy. Like I will never. Right. I like when you back a physical copy and you get the digital like for free because you backed the physical. That's what I like because then I'm like I have the book and I can hold it and I can touch it.
Here's my take on digital, and this is why I did the motion comic instead. Do you remember those books you used to get as a child and they came with a tape? Do you remember those?
Yes.
Yes, and you'd read the book and the tape would play the dialogue from the movie and then have music and you turn the page as the tape
Okay, come on, Murph. You can't even say tape. Okay.
Well,
the
record.
45s
yes.
you used to get.
Both.
I grew up with the Fox and the Hound.
I had them on cassette tape, okay?
The Fox and the Hound.
Hey, I had The Hobbit, and it was the first time I heard "The greatest adventure is what lies ahead." Remember that?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I remember that. Okay. Now what I loved about it was like you were reading a comic book or reading a storybook, but you had the music, you had the audio. And my problem with digital comics is you're on a medium that can play sound and you're not getting sound. That is the one thing that drives me crazy. I'm like, if I'm going to sit here and look at it on a screen and I don't get to turn the pages, then you better give me sound, right? I want audio. So that's why I'm doing the digital, the motion comic instead of doing a digital version.
Exactly, Gordon. The beep turn the page. I fucking loved that shit. I used to sit there as a kid and I'd be like, I've already read this page 3 times. When are you going to beep so I can turn?
Stop it. We have to read the super chat.
I was going back to the super chat. Gosh, you're such an absorbing.
The gun is good. The penis is bad.
What?
That's Zardoz.
Zardoz? Okay.
Yes. The gun is good. The penis is bad.
Wow.
You've never
Tony,
seen that movie?
thank you for the $2. No. Zardoz was the worst Sean Connery film, hands down. Glad I haven't seen it.
No, I didn't see it, but I mean, I'm sure we could find worse.
Possibly.
Sean Connery is a treasure.
Eddie, what's up, Eddie?
Eddie Winkler, thank you so much, hon, for the $5. Says, hey there, Shae and CY, you guys are beasts. Another stream of more cosplay. Wow, Professor Murph is the man. I agree, Professor Murph is the man.
If you want the best super chatter in CG, Eddie Winkler is the man. I don't want to know what his super chat budget is, but the man, I don't even try. I'm like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Eddie's going to be on the stream. It's like 20, 5, 10, 20. I'm like, dude, you're killing me, man.
Oh yeah, I think at one point I was like, I really want this t-shirt, but I think I'm gonna have to wait and make sure I got funds. And I was debating, and secretly I was backstage buying the t-shirt. And then all of a sudden Eddie's like, here, Shae, here's 20, get yourself the shirt. And I was like, oh shit. Well, good, because I just paid for it. So
very, very, very generous guy, really is. And
no, Eddie's awesome. We like Eddie.
He won't mind me saying this, but we've been kind of bantering back and forth. We haven't actually spoken officially, but we've been bantering back and forth on chats about the possibility of doing a team-up book in the future, because when I saw Sovereign Wolf, I was like, these two worlds are inevitably need to collide somewhere at some point in time. And he agreed. He's like, yeah, I see it. And I was like, so don't be surprised if down the line you get a War Party Sovereign Wolf team-up.
That'd be pretty badass,
really
to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
So you created a super chat war. I was going to say, I don't know, some of our members are very generous. We got, Shae, was it 40 or 50? What did we get?
I don't remember. There was a lot.
Yeah, I see a lot from
Jason,
Unhinged. He does super chat a lot. I don't know. I'm not making any statements. I'm just saying from what I've witnessed, Eddie's name pops up, and sometimes they're like $20 chats. I'm like, dude, man.
Hey, I am not complaining. If you want to start a super chat war with our viewers, I mean, the button's there. I'm not going to stop you.
Jason, thank you so much for the $5, honey. Says, Eddie may be super chat king, but I'm super sip master.
Nice.
Jason's awesome. Here's the funny thing. Jason is super badass, and then he hired me to be his editor, and then he decided randomly that he didn't pay me enough, and I was like, no, I think you're good. And he goes, nah, we're gonna do a stretch goal. And so then when we hit the stretch goal, he's like, here you go, have more. Nice. I was like, oh, that's so sweet of you. So Jason's badass, and very much love having him hang out in our chat and have him as a member and everything.
And then he just randomly was like, here, let me work for weeks on this piece of art for you that is awesome.
That is some of the most gorgeous art I think I've ever seen.
If there's anybody, I'm sorry to keep harping on the book and tape thing.
No.
I'm sorry to try to sell my book.
No, not my book. I'm just talking about the book and tape thing. Because I don't know. I mean, I'm sure the average age. I don't know the average age of the people watching it. If there's anybody probably under maybe 25, they probably don't remember the books and tapes. But what you guys got to realize is when I saw Return of the Jedi, I couldn't come home and rent Return of the Jedi or put it in the player and watch Return of the Jedi.
Right.
I had to go to the store and buy the book and tape of Return of the Jedi. That was the only way I could relive the movie. And you wouldn't get the whole movie. You just get portions of it. And I would sit there and listen to it, and I would relive what I saw in the movie. And I didn't get to see it again until it came on TV. So we didn't have that sort of luxury where, you see a movie and then, a few months later, there it is, and you just watch it whenever you want. So these books and tapes were great because sometimes that was before I even saw the movie. Like Pinocchio, I hadn't seen Pinocchio before I had listened to the album, the actual big Disney album with the book. So that was my first experience with Pinocchio.
I know that we're off on a tangent, but I don't give a fuck because this is wonderful, and you just reminded me of something from my childhood that I had completely forgotten about. I was very late in my parents' lives. Like, my mother had me in her late 30s. But she had my brother and sister when she was a teenager. So there's a huge gap between me and my siblings, which means that, like, everything that they grew up with, like, they had an Atari. I had a hand-me-down Atari, and when everyone else is sitting here with, like, PlayStation and shit, and I'm like, have you guys played Mr. Bubbles? And they're like, what? And I'm like, what about Joust? I'm real good at Joust. And they're like, the fuck are you talking about?
Defender.
They're over here going, Crash Bandicoot, bitch. And I'm like, the hell is a Crash Bandicoot? And I was like, why can't you jump into the scene? I just go across the screen back and forth.
Side scrollers.
So I was used to, like, that kind of shit. And my mom legitimately was like, we got a bunch of these, like, books and tapes around from when my brother and sister were younger. And she had, like, fucking 8 tracks and Mastermind. Like, all this shit that came out in the 70s that was, like, super sun bleached, and everything had, like, that weird magenta, teal, yellow stripes.
Right.
That was my childhood. It's like, everyone's over here like New Kids on the Block, and I'm over here like,
but you appreciate it more.
It was so much fun, though. They were so much more fun.
I never got a Millennium Falcon as a kid. It's a source of contention to this day. There's one sitting up on the shelf here that I got when I was, like, I don't know, 35. But I never got the Millennium Falcon. So I literally took cardboard out of, like, Christmas boxes, cut it out, and drew every little detail, taped it together, and made a 3-dimensional cardboard Millennium Falcon that you could stick your Star Wars figures in, and I would carry this thing around the house. Like, and my mom's like, "What was good and inspired your creativity?" I'm like,
I never forgot, Mother.
Yeah, no, I was like, I will never forget that. I never got my Millennium Falcon.
I remember, I didn't even know what Star Wars was, but I had my brother's old Star Wars action figures in the Darth Vader carrying case.
Oh yeah, I had
his
that.
head.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and so I just remember popping it open, and I was like, "The hell are these characters? And why are they all wearing burlap?" Like, I had like no clue what was going on.
Yeah, who is Ugnut or Ugnut?
This one looks ugly. I don't like him. There's like, that's Jar Jar. Nobody likes him. I was like, oh, okay.
Squid Head. That was another one.
Mandible Smasher, thank you for the $5. This is Murph's werewolf was inspired by Jacob from Twilight.
Mandible Smasher, I'm refunding your pledge, Mandible Smasher.
Oh, horrible. And Antoine for the $2, thank you very much. So he said, first on Pinocchio and Cinderella on Viewmaster.
Yeah. Oh gosh, those things.
Dude,
nice.
I had one of those that that synced to a tape too. And so, like, you played the tape, and then it would tell you when to crank it down.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I remember it having really weird pictures that were, like, hyper-realistic and three-dimensional. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever, but it was, like, shit like fruit and stuff. Like, I don't even remember what the fuck the story was. I just remember...
you'd buy those little circular things.
Yeah.
And they'd rotate.
It was... But, like, there was one where, like, they did really good depth of field in it. And so, like... You would have like a really big apple up front, and then like way in the back, you'd see.
Well, and
like...
you had to use your imagination. You had to fill in the gaps. Really, I think it's part of the reason why a lot of kids today have trouble reading comics, because even between panels, you have to fill in the gaps.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it does require. It's a collaborative effort when you're reading a comic book, because you determine how fast you're going to read it. How fast you may stop and look at a panel longer than another panel. Everybody reads comics differently. So
exactly.
That's something that's really, for a generation that used to feed it to me and you control it and I just sit back as a passive observer. When you're reading a comic, you're not that passive. So it requires a little bit of effort, kind of like reading a novel, I guess, but not maybe as much. And that's, I think that sometimes can be off-putting to people. My son's gotten into manga, like he's big into manga, and he reads Western comics too, but he loves manga, like he just eats it.
Right.
And well, I mean, paced fast.
I was gonna say, if you think of how a manga is, though, is they set it so all the action does go very fast, but they fill in a lot more of the blanks than comics do.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Because just the way that they draw it out, and you almost never pick up a manga that is like super thin. Almost every manga is like a novel. They're all thick as shit.
He's reading one now, and it's like this thick.
Right.
It's and I'm just like.
I mean, I have Tony back there, and that bitch is like massive. Like I could kill a cockroach with it. It's huge.
And I know that the drawing style is a lot simpler, and that's partly why they can crank that stuff out so fast. I mean, Western comics tend to dwell on detail a lot. Ever since Todd McFarlane jumped on the scene, everybody was like, detail,
And manga normally doesn't. It's not normally in color.
Right.
So that saves a lot, and because they don't normally do crazy shading, so a lot of that ends up a lot simpler.
Thanks, Unhinged. A war patty is when they kill the werewolf and cook him. They're really delicious. Like you just put them on a bun. And
but war
patties are war patty. Yeah, that's his sister.
That's the sister of all of them.
No, I appreciate it, man. I know that was just a typo. I'm just playing with you. So.
Holy shit! Oh my gosh, we just went down memory lane, and I'm like super.
Yeah, you're all nice and warm and fuzzy, and see what I do? I get you warm and fuzzy and nostalgic, and then I go back my book. So it's kind of like what Hollywood does. Yeah, it's like come see this movie.
Oh, it's like every Star Wars trailer. Let's show all the original characters.
Exactly. The difference is this is actually good. Trust me, this is good. So.
Wait. Is J.J. Abrams or Ryan Johnson involved in your project?
Or either their sons? No. Okay.
No, okay.
Yeah, see, Tony's talking about the same one that I had. He says, Murph, with the one I had, you put in the tape in the back and rotated the handle. It was like a 3-minute compression of the film. I think.
Wait, what? What is he talking about?
He's talking about a ViewMaster that you have the tape for as well.
It sounds like he's talking about a Nickelodeon. Like we're going back to 1910. Like yeah.
Those were the best. Or when you had the little ones that did the carousel.
Yeah. Or like
but it was always like
the little
like a
naked
bunny
woman would run by. You know.
Yeah.
And Antoine is making a really bad pun out of that. War pate.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh.
This is
Let's
totally
talk about
derailed.
perks.
Am I on the Jack show? What's going on?
I don't know
Shae,
what's happening.
you may not do the fucking SJW clap. I will kick your ass off this stream.
So let's go over your perks.
And they're gone. They told me this would happen. Yep, they're back. Okay.
I legitimately, like, the second I ended up backstage, I went, oh, bitch. I went, oh, no one can hear that. That's no fun. Okay, let's go over your perks so people know what an insane deal that you're offering, and they all go and back you instantly because you absolutely should.
All right, let's do it. Okay,
All right,
so first is the featured. You want me to...
That's all you go.
Okay. Well, basically what you get with the featured is you're getting the full set, which is 6 issues 1 through 6. So that's 6 different covers right there.
Nice.
They're all floppies. They're, saddle stitch with the staples. I wanted to do floppies. Don't shoot me. Don't, I know graphic novels are the thing, guys, but I love floppies. So that's what I wanted to do. So you get 6 issues, 1 through 6. And you get 5 variants, 5 of number 1. Now, why 5? Because there's 5 members of the War Party, so I wanted to feature each member on a different cover. One of them is Michael Golden's. He did the Nom, he did Bucky O'Hare, Micronauts, G.I. Joe. Michael Golden is my legend, my favorite artist of all time. Michael Golden, Bernie Wrightson, couldn't hire him, can't bring him back from the dead. And Brian Boland. Those are my 3 guys right there. Heavy hitters, all amazing artists. I don't think anyone would argue with that. But I was fortunate enough to get him to do one of the covers for me. He does the Eagle cover, the Eagle character. So you're getting 11 comic books plus a signed poster for $50. Okay.
Jeez.
140 pages of story and art for $50. All right.
That's insanity.
That's the featured perk. If you just want the set, you get 6 issues for $25. That's issues 1 through 6, and they are signed. They're autographed as well. All of them.
That's $4.25 a book, or something.
Well, here's the thing, and people are like, why is this so cheap? I said, guys, it's not cheap. If this was selling in the bookstore, it would be between $4 and $5. They're floppies. You got to understand. I come from working with Diamond. I've never gotten more than 40% the cover price of anything. So if I'm able to get full price, $4 a book, that's great. Like that's, I've cut out the middleman. So to me, it's not cheap. It's what I would normally offer. And I just honestly, because I'm sort of a new face and everything, I wanted to give people a good deal. I just want to say, look, I want you to pay no more than what you pay at the bookstore for this. That's what I have
to get down to the nitty gritty if your price point is this fucking low, because we have priced printing books and done all that kind of stuff, and we've talked with Alterna and all that kind of stuff. What kind of paper are you using? Is it newsprint?
No, it's not newsprint, but I am going to go a light floppy route. These are not going to be those big, thick, heavy, 80-pound gloss textbooks. I don't think floppy should be on paper that heavy, to be honest with you, in my opinion. So I've already priced them out. I've already worked it out with the printer. The thing is, technology these days, you don't have to do 2,000 and 3,000 copies of a book anymore. It used to be printers wouldn't do less than 2,000 or 3,000 copies. So even if you only got 500 orders sold, you still had to print 3,000 copies, or the printer wouldn't do it. Today, you can print 1 copy. You can print 100 copies. I mean, it doesn't. There's no minimum order. So because of that, that's totally changed the game in printing. I would never have offered this 20 years ago because it couldn't be done. I'd have to print 3,000 to 5,000 copies of every single issue plus every variant cover. So it's just technology's changed it all. I work digitally. I work completely digitally, so it's a lot faster than it used to be working on art boards. Obviously, it's colored digitally. I'm not paying anybody other than the colorist. So it's the colorist, my printing, and my shipping. Done. I'm not paying myself anything. I mean, I'm not going to make any money off this, at least not this book. And I knew I wouldn't. I'm doing this to create a brand, which is what everyone should do, by the way, guys. On your first campaign, don't ever think about making a profit on your first campaign. It's very rare. Very, very rare. Most people, you've got to be, in my estimation, in the 40, 50,000 or 60 and up to be making any money on your first campaign.
Very true.
So that being said, because I'm doing the majority of the work, plus I've already put some of my own money into it, issues 1, 2, and 3 were already colored before I did this campaign and paid for. Okay, so I've already paid out of my own pocket in the past. So there's already been several thousands of dollars of my own money put into this. So I didn't come into this going, I need 10 grand. No, 10 grand is what I need to finish it, right?
Yeah.
So, it just comes from doing this for so long and knowing, what the pitfalls are.
Yeah.
I do all the layout and InDesign, and I did, I've been doing that for years. So I'm fortunate because I don't have to rely on a team,
right?
Where the artist suddenly disappears or can't work or doesn't, my colorist is it. That's it, and he's fast. He gets it done, and he's, as you can see, he's outstanding. I mean, his technique is perfect for my style. So,
it really is. So before we continue on your perks, I Borrow Ideas says that they just backed, and I've actually been watching this, and I want us to see the jump. So when we started, you were at 21,186. All right. Since we've been streaming, you are now at 21,406.
Nice.
So
Thank
you have
you, guys.
made a decent jump, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you. The Valkyrie. What do we call it?
The Valkyrie.
We got the
bump.
Bancroft bump. No, it's got to be something with a V. The Valkyrie voluptuousness.
There we go.
Voluptuous Valkyrie. I don't know.
We just call it being fucking awesome is what we call it.
Well, thank you. Let me talk about awesome. I love Comicsgate fans. Like, here's what I love about Comicsgate fans. Number one, you have to earn them. They don't just go, oh yeah, I'll throw you money. Especially now, it used to be that way, but not anymore. I've noticed. But what I love is once you earn them, once they back you, they're just the enthusiasm and the support, and it's like, I don't know, I can't explain it. I've never experienced this in comics before because it used to be you'd sell it to the retailer and you had no idea who was buying it.
Yeah.
Right. You'd ship it out and you don't even know what they sold, what they didn't sell. You never interacted with the customer. You were selling to the retailer. Yeah, and now it's like not only are we selling directly to the customer, I know their names. I recognize them in the chats.
Yeah.
I've been telling people if they ever do a For the Fans Fest like Ethan had been talking about in Orlando, and everybody, fans and creators, even our Australia buddies, everybody came to this thing, it'd be the biggest comic convention in the last 20 years in terms of just enthusiasm and energy. It would be the coolest thing ever. It really would.
Absolutely.
We know each other, but we only know each other online. So I love that you know who these people are. When I'm filling orders, I recognize names. And how weird is that? Like when I'm printing labels, I know who these people are.
Hey, it's Eric.
That's the
exactly.
That's the same way that we feel though, is like so I'm sitting here and I had a similar thing when I started making merch because I am addicted to making merch. I am so sick of seeing like even when you go to just try and get like I want to get a comic t-shirt and it's like they'll put the character on there and then they go Aquaman. I'm like, I know who the fuck it is. I don't like, why'd you gotta put his name in a stupid spot like that? Like, I'm not trying to advertise like I'm some 5-year-old dressed up for Halloween. You wear the Spider-Man suit and then it says Spider-Man across the chest in case you didn't know.
That's for the parents.
Oh, I hate that shit so much. And so when I started looking at like when we had our own brand and I was like, we can do our own merch. And I was like, I'm going to make all of the shit I wish I could go buy. Like the stuff that I wish existed in stores, that's what I'm going to go make. And so I started making stuff like that. And we get all of it. See, just like this shit.
Right.
And I know that this is a joke, but this is what's funny. We get our fans that are like, I would totally buy X. And then all of a sudden I'm like, all right, and I'll go and make it. And the next thing you know, somebody goes and buys it. And I'm like, well, fuck, that's awesome.
Okay.
It is awesome.
Shae, do you still have the picture of my mug that sold?
Oh.
Are these like Etsy things you're doing? Or is that how you're
No. So we actually we have a merch store on our own website. So redvalkyrie.net/merch. And we go through Printful, and they have amazing quality. We do all over print, all kinds of really cool stuff.
Nice.
Damn it, Pastmaster Dan, you're always so mean. I am not Tonto. I am this bitch back here. You can just ask somebody
Shae.
whether dressed like John Depp.
Shae is the chicken from War Party.
That's better than being dressed like what's her face? Amber Heard, right?
That's very true.
Yeah.
Yes, very true. See, but it's that kind of shit. Like, having that interaction is so exciting. And like, we did a giveaway stream where I went and bought a whole bunch of comics, and I had, Jason was nice enough to donate some prints to us, and we had some of our own prints from other creators, and we go through, and as I was packing them up, I was like, this person has been in our chat a lot, or this person, supports us all the time. They always retweet me, and it was so cool to have that kind of a connection, to be like, I'm going to send them something neat, and I can throw a little extra in there because I know these people, and they're such a huge support for us. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. And I mean, the whole thing is, I feel like we're building a whole new industry. I mean, people are making toys, people are,
Oh, yeah.
Now, I wanted to keep mine simple. I wanted to just be about the book. I mean, probably the most fancy thing I'm offering is the motion comic. But first campaigns, I really advise people to, stay away from T-shirts and apparel and all this extra. Just do the book, because you're going to eat up cost and all this other stuff. And this is proof. This is a low price point. I have 536 backers, by the way. This is a low price point, no T-shirts, just the book, $21,000. I mean, I think that's an achievement.
No, that's fantastic. And the thing
so,
is you're getting people stuff that they want. Like, people have said that they want this product and that they're happy with this product. And you talk about how you don't want to make a profit. Like, you don't expect to make a profit.
Well, it's not that I don't want to.
That's right. You don't expect
Anti-profit.
It's just I'm realistic, and I know that when you're trying to launch anything, I mean, when you're doing this, you're doing a first campaign, you're effectively launching a business. When you launch a business, no business makes money usually in their first few years, right? Same goes for crowdfunding usually. Because you're launching a brand, you've got to be willing to invest in it first.
Right.
Build your audience. Then, if it's good and they enjoy it and you deliver it, then when you offer your next offering, it's exponential. And then your next offering, and it just keeps building from there, and your audience grows. So,
but that's the thing, is it's like, you come out and say, I don't expect to be making a profit on this. I want to give you something good. This is what I'm going to offer, and I'm trying to do this so it's the best value for the customer. And the customers have kind of rallied together and gone, we want this man to make a decent profit off of this, because listen to everything that he's saying and what he's showing us and what he's doing. He's trying to do right by us, so let's do right by him. And that's how it works. But you have people that come in and they go, well, I'm a pro and I've been doing this for years, and so you guys should all just be happy that I'm here. And it's like, I don't think I'm going to back your thing, because I don't
it's a sense of entitlement. And the thing is, a lot of pros, and I've been saying this, and some people agree and some disagree with me, I think a lot of pros are going to have trouble when they try to do this, because if they're not willing to humble themselves and get on a stream like this and pitch their project, if they just expect people just to come to them because, I did, Dark Detective Comics for 10 years, you should buy it. That's not how it works.
No.
And I've always been independent. I've never been published. I've always been self-published. So I'm coming from a more humble, even though I've been doing this since the 90s, it's allowed me to stay grounded, I guess, and realize that every book you release, you got to earn that audience. You have to earn that audience. So,
Well, and what people don't understand is there are no solicitations in Comicsgate. There are no solicitations in indie comics where you're putting out a little preview in a magazine that all the retailers are going to get and decide if they want to buy that.
right.
I mean, you just launch your campaign and you better work the audience. Otherwise, they who the fuck's going to randomly see your stuff on Indiegogo or Kickstarter?
Right. Not until it gets to that point in the algorithm. Now, I have noticed, this is more advice for potential crowdfunders, is when you get in demand, it kicks you up in the algorithm. And this thing has sat at the first 3 pages on Indiegogo since inception. I don't think I've ever dropped lower than page 3 or 4 in the entire duration of this campaign.
Yeah.
And it's because it's been a consistent pledge, and every once in a while I'll get a spike, it'll drop, but then it's staying consistent enough to prop the project up. And I think I found the perfect price point, because a lot of people were telling me when it was 10,000, they're like, are you regretting that? Because I was like at 6 or 7, I wasn't there yet. It took me 60 days to hit 15.
Right.
And they were like, you might have made a mistake. You probably should have priced it lower. I said, guys, I'm doing 6 issues. I've got to at least hit $10,000 to do this. So I got to be realistic with them and myself. But what I have noticed is
There's your sales.
Yeah, and you see the steady climb.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's not always good to just come out super strong and then drop off. Sometimes it's good to come out slow. It's slow and steady wins the race, right? So it's a consistent jog. You know what I mean? And that's what this campaign's been, a consistent jog pretty much all the way.
Well, and like we were saying, I feel like you're doing so much of this right, because it's very affordable. You're keeping it centered around your customer base, and people that seem to think that you can just shit on your customers, like, I feel like they've never worked retail. Like, go work retail. You learn real quick. You gotta kiss some ass sometimes, and whether it's exactly what you want to do or not, unless you are against it for a very specific reason, like, you should always at least consider what your customer base is saying. Now, there's times where you're not going to deliver what they want, and that might be because it's not feasible. It's not something that's realistic. It might go against future issues or whatever. But at the same time, if you just shit all over everybody,
well, I never understood that anyways. When I've heard about it, because when I came back to comics, I was hearing about this. I'm like, what's going on? I was never treated this way by professionals, but professionals I'm more referring to are back in the 80s and the 90s. This is a whole new group of professionals. Not all of them, but so, the only thing I can take from that is because they didn't have to sell to the customer, they were selling to the retailer. The retailer was their customer. So as long as the retailers are ordering the books, who cares what some guy on Twitter says about my art or my writing? I don't care. So there's a disconnect. You see what I mean? And crowdfunding eliminates that disconnect. You can't be disconnected, or you're not going to succeed. It's not going to work. So it forces you to be accountable to the people giving you their money, on faith and trust, by the way, because as we see, you can just take the money and go to Costa Rica. You don't have to do anything. Right? It's not shopping, and they say this is not shopping.
They say it about 100 times when you're in it. So you have to check a box.
So I mean, it's not only convincing them to buy a product, you're convincing them to buy a product they may never get. I mean, this is crazy when you think about it.
That's happened more than once too. A lot of us, like, I've backed over 180 projects, and I can tell you right now that I don't have that many books sitting here. Now, granted, the vast majority of them either haven't hit their delivery date yet, or have delivered. The vast majority of them. But the thing is there is always that possibility that something is going to go wrong, and that you're not going to get whatever it is that you've paid for. And at the end of the day, our money to a project that's in good faith.
Well, and I liked the way Ethan handled when he was late on because I backed Blood Honey, and when that was late, and he just kept saying, guys, I'm putting so much into this book. I know it's late, but I want to give you the best book possible. And when I got it, I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't see him cutting any corners in here. Like, it was, the drawing was just, everything was just, you could tell he was pouring himself into it. And I was like, you know what, that's how you handle it. If you are late,
you just have to be up front.
Stay in contact, right?
Yep.
Update them and let them know, look, I'm working my tail off. I know it's not when I promised it, but you're going to get it, and you're going to be happy when you get it. And I think most fans are fine with that as long as you're communicating with them. It's when you drop off the radar.
Yeah, like case in point.
I don't want to talk about that. I didn't back it.
None of us do.
I didn't back it, but I don't want to.
We interviewed them, and you know, it's
fine.
Shitty. It's shitty. That's an SJW word. Shitty.
Well, one thing I will promise my backers, you'll never see my book in a store before you have it in your hands. That will never, ever happen. Okay?
Fantastic.
So,
unless you order it really, really late.
Let me make it clear. Yes, if you order it after it's already out in stores, that's different. But my initial backers, So.
You mean you're not going to wait to make your big deal with Walmart?
Right.
So we have 2 more tiers that we still have to go through.
That's why I reshared your screen.
So you have the complete set and an original sketch for $100.
Yeah.
I
think that's reasonable.
I think that's an understatement.
I think it's a little pricey, actually, to be honest with you.
Really?
I mean, if I were at a convention, I wouldn't charge $100 for a sketch. I mean, the 6 comic books.
Would you charge $100 for 6 comic books, poster print? What are you getting with this?
You're getting the 6 issues signed and then the sketch. So you're not getting the variant set. You're just getting the 6 issues.
Okay. So would you value the sketch at $75 at a convention?
Yeah, I still think it's pricey. But hey, I don't want to do that much drawing, guys. I'm busy, so I had to price it high enough that only certain people would spring for it, right?
Well, you also limited it. That's the right way to go.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way: people paid money for this sketch.
Oh gosh, they did too.
Yes, but it's who it's by. There's a difference. You guys are celebrities, right? Come on.
I draw your attention to the guinea pig hand.
There's a
opposite
guinea pig
the ginger hand.
Oh, the Bancroft hand. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a Bancroft hand and a guinea pig hand.
He was my first launch or my first stream, so I can say that about him. He knows it's all.
Oh, he knows.
Yes.
Yeah. I made the joke that CY was taking drawing lessons from Bancroft. That shit we put on a mug as a joke, and G Stu in the chat he bought it. And he drinks from it regularly.
Yeah, Rick mentioned about the sketch. He doesn't see a spot to pick what character. Just email me, Rick, which one you want. Okay.
Awesome.
But yeah, I probably should have put an option on there for that, but I couldn't figure out how to do that on Indiegogo. There might be a way to do that, but I just figured I'd email them. What?
Oh, Jason.
Oh gosh. Okay, there we go.
Wow. Jesus, I never even noticed the hands.
You just never seen pencils before. Once that thing is inked, it's gonna be like, it's Michael Golden level. Okay, trust me. Inking is where the magic happens. Right?
Oh my gosh.
That was in ballpoint pens, so technically it's already inked.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
That is inked. Statement. That is 1,000%.
Well, the colorist is really gonna save it though.
Yeah, we'll fix it in post, right? We'll fix it in post. That's the famous last words.
Where's my Bill O'Reilly clip?
No, it's not.
Let's do it live.
Yes. I have that on our other show.
Awesome.
And then you're selling the Acevedo original for $17.50.
Yes, it is right there on my wall. Right there.
Oh, look at you!
Canvas, yeah. I'm kind of hoping it doesn't sell. I want to keep it.
Right? Just be like,
what's up with creators pricing things to the point where it won't sell?
Well,
so
it's one of those things where you're like, I will sell it, but it's kind of like this is my bottom.
I'll sell it, but only if I'm getting this much money.
Yeah, exactly.
Then I'll sell it.
Yeah, and the thing is, that's the cover of issue 0, which is the one that I'm only doing 250 copies of, the one that's halfway gone. That's the secret tier. Yeah. So it's kind of a little special item there. And you don't see Zero on here. You won't see. I'm also doing a handbook, by the way. I'm almost finished with it. Do you remember the Marvel Universe books where they would have the bios and they'd have the drawing of the character?
Yep.
Do you remember those? And they were in alphabetical order. And
I've heard of them. I didn't ever read them.
I've got them over there, but they they would talk about like the first appearance of the character. They give you a lot of information and backstory of the character that you didn't get necessarily just from the comic book. Well, I've done and it's another add-on perk. It's only $10, no shipping, because it's going to be added into your order. But it's a $10 perk. It's a 32-page handbook, and it's got all the characters, and it's got their backstories in there, and and like some maps, like where the battles happen, a little bit of backstory on the French and Indian War, and then what's cool is in the back, I've got a timeline with sticker spots, like blank spots for stickers. For the future books, and also character pages with blank spots for stickers from future books. So when you get the future book, there'll be some sticker sheets in there, and you add those to the handbook, and it all kind of paints a picture of the timeline throughout the various incarnations or whatever sequels. So it's kind of it's a handbook that you can keep and add to as we go on through this saga or whatever.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, so we're going to do another update because other people had said that they had back, so I want to see if it jumped.
And,
nice.
It jumped, all right.
She did that to herself.
She did a jump into another dimension. Yeah, there she goes.
I booted myself, my bad. Hold up, I'm getting back to it.
I think it's the same. It looks like I got 4. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, 4 backers.
Yep, so we're at 21,406 still.
Yeah, a couple $50, variant perks. So thanks, guys.
I mean, that's an insane amount of comics, for the price. So it's definitely worth it, I would say.
Well, and keep in mind, one thing about variant covers is that the guts are the same, the inside. So
right,
all they do is print an additional cover and then wrap it around those.
Right,
so
but then those are the ones that you display proudly on your wall.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Silver, no.
You didn't exit by accidentally hitting the mouse button you don't understand?
No, I was on the wrong tab that I refreshed.
Oh, nice. Jackass.
Look, in my head it made sense. I fucked it up in execution. It's fine. Okay, so I Borrow Ideas had a question where he said, when will we be receiving the link for issue 0?
I email you that. As soon as I get off this stream, I will email each of you. I email everybody immediately. There's 3 secret perk links. There's one for issue 0, there's one for the handbook, and then there's one for my previous works. And you have the option to back any one of those 3 or none of them. But the handbook is added to your order, so there's no shipping. It's just I just stick it right in there with whatever you backed. Issue 0 won't be out till next Christmas because I have to finish issue 0 once 1 through 6 are done. Now it'll be black and white, so it's not going to be color, so that'll speed up the process on that one. That also kept costs down. And honestly, I love black and white comics. I wanted to do one comic that was black and white. I don't get the sort of aversion some people have to black and white.
Well, I love black and white comics that are done well as a black and white comic. I mean, the pencils and inks, you have to go into it knowing that you're drawing a black and white comic and adjust accordingly.
Well, and you can add halftones and things like that to create more contrast. One of my biggest complaints with color, especially computer coloring these days, is sometimes it obliterates the line work. Right. The coloring starts to dominate and almost feels like it's oppressing the drawing. And I'm like, and then I'll see the line work in black and white, and I'm like, this looks so good. And nothing against the color, but I'd rather see this than the color version sometimes. And that's when
they're going too wide with the colors and they're obliterating, the line weights and stuff like that, and it just
and I mean, I used to read things like
oversaturation because you're looking at something with blue light, and so you don't pay attention to just how saturated you're using your colors until it actually comes out printed. And
right, and you remember Savage Sword of Conan? Do you remember that magazine, the black and white Conan? Oh gosh.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh.
Look, nope.
Oh.
Look, nope. We are getting the black and white coded for reference.
Look at him.
He knew
Shae,
exactly where that was too.
Is our wall going to be like that someday? Just
Yes.
nope, right here.
It is right here.
That's just Joe Jusko, the legendary painter. They'd always have these amazing painted covers. But I mean, it was John Buscema.
Wow.
Ultra violent, black and white are beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is gorgeous.
This
Hey,
doesn't
did you
need
see
to be in
Vallejo
color.
just turned 80?
Oh,
Speaking
really?
of beautiful old painted covers, yeah.
Say
Vallejo
that.
just
Say
turned
that
80.
one more time. What?
He's 80.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, this is the stuff I grew up on. This is the stuff I love.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do number one. It was a way to keep the price point down, obviously, but also I just thought it'd be cool. It's a flashback. It's kind of doesn't mean I can't release it again later in another volume and colorize it. But the people that got one of those 250 copies of issue 0, that's it. I'm not reprinting them. So I just bought a bunch of those.
just like we were saying, when it's meant to be black and white, it's done really well. So 656, their original stuff was black and white. Absolute from Jason is black and white, and I love when Jason does color work, and I love the feeling behind his lines and stuff like that. But I would not want Absolute in color because it is so perfect.
Well, yeah,
with it being black and white. It just
who would want to see Sin City in color, right? I mean, Sin City
it loses
looks
a lot of
amazing.
charm.
Yeah, it does. So, I mean, nothing against color. Love colorist. Love my colorist. He's great, and it does add a lot of atmosphere and mood. I get it.
It does.
Contrast, but there is, in defense of black and white, if it's done right, like we said,
yes,
it can be just as impactful. Sometimes it's more beautiful to look at, honestly, from an artist.
Well, and especially
Right.
when you have like a really sketchy kind of style.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, if you color that, you're just going to lose
You
every
lose
bit
the
of character that it
character.
has. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
or
and,
if you do color it real simple, like very
Yeah.
simplistic washes and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
other thing that I love, so like what Colton Crux is doing, his is a black and white comic, but he has spot color.
Right.
And he's doing spot color because the color gold is actually relevant to the story. So he
Right.
has parts of the comic that are gold to show it being different, and it's so striking that way. And Jason, stop hating on yourself. That's ridiculous.
Well, Graham Nolan. Remember Graham Nolan
Yeah.
with the Canoe with the spot
Yeah.
of red throughout the
Well,
book.
and
I think that's great.
Well,
It makes it so much more like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
You just see like red.
Yeah.
And not to bring up something horrible, but I mean, anyone who's ever watched Schindler's List, the girl in the red jacket, I mean,
Yeah.
the entire movie's in black and white except
Yeah.
that one little girl you
That
see.
one scene you see her alive, the next scene she's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it definitely you wouldn't be able to make that connection without that little
Exactly. And that's kind of what brings it home, that slap in the face, that like, oh no, there's the little
Yeah.
girl. But yeah, not to bring the stream.
Now that we just brought the whole thing.
Oh,
Okay. So anyways, Savage Sword of Conan. No.
so
Show us
for
a close up
Wolf
of someone
Party-
getting decapitated. That'll
a lot
bring the
happier.
humor
That'll
back.
lighten it.
licking the blood off his hand.
Yeah.
All right, so you've got the first 6 issues for this campaign. How many issues are you wanting to do of War Party?
Well, this is it. This is it for this portion of the story.
Okay.
I
So
see
this
War
arc?
Party, yes, I see War Party like the show Quantum Leap. Remember how in Quantum Leap, even though Scott Bakula's character was the lead character, every episode wasn't really his story. Each episode was somebody's story, and he was trying to help them in whatever way he was trying to
Right.
help them.
He was
Same
the
thing with
ultimate supporting character.
Right. Same thing with the Incredible Hulk. The old TV show. He would come to a town. There'd be a problem. He'd solve it with Hulk's help. And then he'd go to the next town. Well,
To a
that's
lesser degree, the A-Team.
Yes. Yeah. There you go. That's how episodic dramas work a lot of times, but especially Quantum Leap because he was going through different time periods. So I see Diane as sort of my time traveler in a way. She is the lead character, but each sort of story arc is not really her story. She's taking part in the story, but whatever's happening that she's got to help or fix, or whatever problem she has to solve, it's those characters' story at that moment, and she is in that story.
Right.
And that's the way I'm looking at it. So, the other stories could be completely different in length. They could be as short as 72 or 64 pages, or they could be just as long as this. It just depends on how I want to handle it.
So
That's
is she the one you're going to be carrying forward into other stories, I guess?
She will be my franchise character. You know what I mean?
Antoine says, is she like
but much better looking, yes.
Yes, much better. Nice hips.
Jason is going to have an aneurysm if I don't ask his question.
Okay.
If you...
Is that why he keeps yelling tree? I didn't get it.
That's why he keeps yelling tree. What's the damn tree question? If you were a tree, what tree would you be and why? Exactly. This is why we stopped asking questions.
Here's what I would be. A palm tree. A palm tree.
A palm tree. Why a palm tree?
A really tall palm tree. You ever seen a palm tree in a hurricane?
Yes.
They don't break. They don't break. They bend. They move with the hurricane, but no matter how hard the wind blows, they stay intact. Right?
Having been from Florida and seen a palm tree sail through a cinder block wall, the tree survived, the wall didn't.
Yeah, they're incredibly versatile, and they're survivors as far as tree. And I'm not saying I've survived any sort of horrible thing. I'm just saying I'm a very flexible person. I'm real adaptable. So, I would definitely see them. Definitely not an oak tree, because you see what happens to them in hurricanes. They snap in half. They're rigid, So
willow tree. It's bendy. Silver.
Weeping willow.
You misspelled Knight Rider. That's all I'm saying. You misspelled Knight Rider. Holy shit! And we're not going to talk about the end of Quantum Leap. We're just not going to talk about the end of Quantum Leap. And Dr. Sam Beckett never returned home. Fuck you, Belisario.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
Yeah,
But there's an endless list of TV shows that have ended the wrong way. We all know that. It all comes back to give the audience what they want. You don't have to.
They were trying to set it up for the future, for future adventures, because if he doesn't return home, then he's just sleeping for the rest of eternity.
Right.
Supposedly. But they just never did any. I mean, novels, but who gives a shit?
And we brought up so between Quantum Leap and Schindler's List, we have completely bummed out this chat. Okay.
I love when Jason types, because then he's like, I mean spoilers.
That last episode, though. That last episode.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'll try my best in War Party not to let it be a downer. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm not saying everybody will live, but I will give the audience what they want.
As long as the time traveling live forever woman lives, then we're good with it. Because she is.
Well, I won't be able to do any more books if she doesn't. So
exactly.
She's very beautiful. I'm just saying.
Yes,
Silver, I was just giving you shit about misspelling Knight Rider.
Well, it's funny you say that, because it's legendary, the Europeans writing about when they first saw a lot of the Algonquin women and just like how gorgeous they were.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, historically accurate.
I just got fired from being Jason's editor for about the 500th time. So, that's good. That's good.
He should have to pay you. Well, no, he already pays you every time he fires you, come to think of it, in Super Chat.
He does. So. All right. Alex, do you have any other questions for Murph?
No.
Wow. Wow.
Okay.
Wow. That was
I asked them all.
Good.
Honestly, this book looks fucking phenomenal.
Thanks.
And I really want you to get well above the 20,000. You're at 21,406, which is just fantastic. But are you staying in demand up until you go to print?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so it'll be in demand for a couple more months.
Yeah, because honestly, I'm probably going to overprint, because I purchased ISBNs and UPC codes for all these books that are going to be on the covers. I intend on putting these books in stores once my backers receive them. Okay, so I'm probably going to do an overprint anyways, and I might go through Diamond again. Just, and here's why. I mean, it's not really because you make that much money, because it's 40% off, but just to I think it's a good idea, especially for Comicsgate projects, to kind of get your projects outside of the bubble. And it doesn't hurt to have them in stores, at least sort of peppered across the country.
Right.
And I think it'd bring in more customers. I think it'd bring in more audience.
Absolutely.
Audience
If there's one thing that I will say that CG needs to be a little bit better at, it's expanding the customer base, and we get more people around.
Yeah.
Jason, thank you for the $2. He says, "Shae, you're never fired." I appreciate
you actually, with that whole discussion right there, just brought up a question. So you mentioned you're getting ISBNs and barcodes and stuff like that for your comics.
Yes.
How are these going to be shipped to your customers? Because
they're going to be shipped in those wonderful Gemini mailers over there.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love Gemini mailers. They're so easy. You're guaranteed it's going to be protected. It's not going to be bent. It's not going to get destroyed. And they fit. I think they fit like up to 11 floppies or 12 floppies in them. It's insane what they'll hold.
So I know that they can fit at least 12 because I just shipped a Gemini mailer to Canada with 12.
Right, and my $50 perk is 11 books, right?
Perfect.
Okay? And if you throw in, if they've got the handbook as well, there's your 12. Mm-hmm. So I can get them all in one shipment. So
do you have a friendly post office?
Well, I use stamps.com, and I have a box over at the UPS across the street, UPS store. Mm-hmm. They let me drop the books off, so I just print them out, take them to the UPS store, give them to them in a basket, and leave.
The reason I ask is whether or not you were going to roll the dice on media mail, since your books.
They will be media. They are me. I do ship a media mail. I've been shipping media mail for years. Here's the secret with media mail. It's got to have an ISBN number. See, here's the trick with comic books, people with floppies, because I've been shipping graphic novels media mail for years because they're books. But the comics, it gets a little floppies. It gets a little weird because technically comic books don't qualify if they have ads in them, or if they don't have an ISBN number, if they just have a UPC code. Because most comics do not have an ISBN number. They just have the little code, the little barcode, but they don't have that number that you see on books. I'm putting an ISBN on the front with the barcode, and there's no ads, okay? And wrapping them up in there, slap it with media mail, and I haven't had any problems in the past with it. I'm gonna see if that's gonna work again. I'll probably do a few test ships and see if they get returned, or I'll be in contact with the specific backer I'm testing it with and say, if you received it, did they charge you? Was it open? Honestly, I don't think it's a problem. Because I'm following the rules.
We had a creator in CG a little while ago that got his shit ripped open and returned.
It can happen, but they can do that with anything. What I have noticed, I have a media mail stamp, a little red stamp that you stamp on the envelope.
That says media mail on it. Yeah.
Yes, so I stamp it, and also on stamps.com, I print out the prepaid media mail label. So you've got a double whammy there that makes it look very official. Okay, so the chances of it getting open, I think, are extremely slim, especially given the fact, like I said, even if they do open it, there's an ISBN code right on the front of those books.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But, I'm going to try that first because obviously it saves you a lot of money.
Oh, yes, it does. Yeah, I'm getting ready to ship about 25 books to Florida because I'm not getting on a plane with them, novels. And, you
should be able to ship it then. You shouldn't have any problem. It's really only comic books and magazines that they have a problem with because they
I was just comparing like normal shipping
to
media mail shipping, and I'm like, okay, normal shipping $60, $70, $80 for 25 pounds. Media mail $22.
Yeah. It's great. And it only takes a few more days. I think for the comics it's like $3.97. So it's nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, the Gemini mailers and the bags and boards cost more than that, by the time you add it up. So, you got to plan all this stuff out and just try to cram as much quality into one shipment as you can.
Yes.
Because the shipping will eat you alive, especially to Australia and UK. It's like $37, $40.
No, the worst one. So when I was originally, when we did our giveaway stream, I had a package that was going to the UK and I had a package that was going to Canada, right? So I had to take the one that was going to Canada, put it in a legal size priority mail envelope. So the Gemini mailer in a priority envelope to ship to Canada, because without that, it was over $60. I'm in Maryland. I could almost frisbee it to Canada.
Right. Well, and what's annoying is Canada has duties, taxes, that other countries don't have. So when you ship it to Canada, you either have to pay those taxes or the receiver has to pay the taxes. And I didn't realize, I don't know when that happened. I mean, I don't know what's going on with us in Canada. It's a little ridiculous.
It's gotten worse in the past, 6 months. In the past 6 months, the shipping between US and Canada has gotten that much worse. So it was going to cost me over $60 to do it with just a Gemini mailer. The one that was going across the fucking ocean to Britain cost me $23.
Yeah,
I was 23 and 67, and it's right. I could drive it to them and high five and be like,
"There's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no rhyme or reason to it. The way you got to look at shipping is this: you're going to lose money on some shippings, and other shipments you're going to make a slight profit on possibly.
Yep.
So it'll balance out as long as you charge enough for shipping to cover at least, I would say, 75-80% of it.
Yeah.
You don't have to necessarily. I charge my foreign shipping is $30. Shipping to Australia was $40. So I lost $10 shipping to Australia, but I'll accept that because I'm making slight profit on shipping to other locations, and it'll average out.
And you have a lot more orders from those other locations.
Right. Exactly. So
so the moral of the story was, she stuffed it in the envelope and saved $40.
Just
because it was in a priority envelope.
The second it was in the priority envelope, because it's a legal. So a Gemini mailer can fit in a legal size priority flat rate envelope.
Okay.
So
and Canada has a special rate called Priority Flat Rate Canada.
And so it went from $67 down to $22.
That's awesome.
It was oh shit, yes, I will do that. Thank you.
I'll try that. I mean,
there's a place that I use that isn't stamps.com, and we'll talk about it off air. But I used them, and they're great because you can try a bunch of different stuff and see it live. And then the second, they give you a discount on top of if you went straight to USPS. Half of the stuff that I got was giving me still a 10, 20, 30, 40% discount off of the USPS price.
Okay.
Because they're giving you, USPS is going to quote you as an individual shipping something.
Right.
Right. But through this website, they're going to take their company ship rate that they get, and then they pass that on to you. Gotcha. Cool. So you end up getting a better ship rate. They get to keep their company status with it because they're the ones shipping it for you.
I feel like we need to have a town meeting of all comic skaters to talk seriously, just to talk about shipping and fulfillment. Nothing else, because that is a whole nother animal. That it's just, honestly, things could get a lot better if there was a way to cut those costs down.
Yes,
because
and I know
killing people.
Some people individually have been working on it. I know that CY and I have a lot of really good tips when it comes to creating your campaign, marketing, advertising, shipping, merchandising, all that kind of stuff, branding. And eventually we're going to make time to sit down and actually film these as small little 10 to 15 minute videos that go through each of those steps. But part of the problem is some people in CG see it as that's competition, and other people see it as we got to be one big family and help each other out. And if you're worried about somebody else fulfilling a book and being better than you, then make your book better, because obviously your book can't.
Competition is what's in these pages.
Exactly.
Competition has nothing to do with what we're paying for shipping. That's passed on to the customer. So if you care about all the CG customers like we all say we do, then we should do whatever we can to lower those shipping costs for everybody.
Absolutely.
And if you want to compete, let's compete with our pens and our writing and our drawing and so on. So that's just, I don't see what that has anything to do with it, if that's the way they're thinking of it.
Yeah, you know what? We might actually, we'll have to talk a little bit more about that off air, because we got our entire chat just blew up at the thought of bringing together a bunch of people and talking shipping. I say let's fucking do it. Like, for real,
Well,
let's do it.
I mean, are we in this together or not? Because let me tell you, there's never been a more important time to have a Comicsgate. I mean, we're entering a new realm of censorship, as you all are aware of, and Comicsgate was founded on, freedom of expression, right, in our books and in our art. So, what did Ben Franklin say? We'll either hang together or hang separately, right? So,
So we may as well have company.
Yes. So, I mean, my point is we, in order to keep this sort of movement, if you want to call it that, alive and publishing, we need to be helping everybody out so that we can cut all our costs down, make more books, better books, and, kick Marvel and DC to the curb, because,
Absolutely.
It's us against the world at this point, and if people start getting banned off social media and all this other thing, we gotta rally. You know what I mean? I'm all for competition. Yeah, we're all trying to compete for dollars to some degree, but at the same time, I have not found any evidence so far of other comic skaters. I've backed other comic skaters' projects. They've backed my projects. Everybody is trying to elevate everybody else's success, and it seems to work.
It does.
It's like this cooperative capitalism. It's weird, but I love it. So.
Because it's people the thing is people like to back genuine people, right? The reason that CG does so well is because people show who they are, people show what they stand for. And that's when somebody's buying your book, they're not just buying your story or your art. They're buying you.
Right.
They're buying into you and who you are. The reason that it does so well is because people have stopped the bullshit and have just been, this is what I want to do. This is why I make this book. I care about your feedback. Like, tell me, do you think that maybe you found a way to do something a little bit better that I could benefit from?
Right.
And I'm not going to tell you to go pound dirt. I'm going to listen and take it to heart and see if I can make that judgment for myself. Or if I know something, I'm not going to guard it like some fucking goblin. I'm going to, turn around and go,
right.
This worked for me. It might work for you too. Because at the end of the day, nobody is reading just one comic book. Like, nobody's like, I have room in my life for one comic series.
Right.
Like, that's not a thing. Nobody sits down and reads one novel and then that's it.
Well, I was told launching right before Christmas was a mistake. This is what I was told by a lot of people. And I said, look, and I just felt like I got to get this out before the election. Regardless of which way it goes, I need to get this thing out before whoever's president becomes president, because I just had a feeling that I needed to get this thing out. And, so I defied convention and released it in October. And what I think my campaign is proving is that there's plenty of money to go around. It's just timing. It's just not all at once. In other words, some people they may just back 3 or 4 books and they have got 3 other they want to back, but they can't do it right now. They don't have the money. So they've got to wait till it goes in demand or whatever. And that's what I'm seeing is the money's there, the customers are there, but you can't expect them all to back everybody simultaneously. They just don't have that much, those kind of dollars. I know there's a few that do, but so I don't think there's a bad time to launch, a good time to launch. I don't believe that. I just think if you're offering a quality book and you do the work, you gotta hustle. It's like being in a band. I am playing clubs. This is a club. I'm playing a club. I'm selling CDs.
Club Valkyrie.
I'm building my audience. Right, but you got to do the work. You got to. I've streamed all night sometimes on shows for 2 backers or 1 backer. Sometimes no backers. And then I've gone on other shows, or Ethan will name drop the campaign, and I'll make $1,500 not doing anything. You see what I mean? So it just depends. So my point is, you do the hustle, you show up, you bring quality work, you offer people a reasonable price. I think you're gonna do numbers regardless of when you do it. Okay, so advice, guys.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Do you have any last little parting shots that you want to say about the campaign before we end? Because this has been an awesome fucking stream, and I'm so happy that we were able to get you on.
Well, I'm having fun. I hope everybody else is having fun. And that's what I mean, just in terms of the whole Comicsgate thing.
Yes.
Like, I am having a blast doing this again. This has, like, revitalized my love and interest in making comics, which I never, honestly, ever thought I would do another comic book. Because I did a 200-page graphic novel in 2008, sold it through Diamond. It did, like, 6,000 copies. I did okay. But I just saw the writing on the wall. I was like, comics are dead, man. Like, there's just no future in this medium. I'm gonna go do something else. And I said, I'm never doing another comic again, probably. So I never thought I would be doing this. And this has kind of just revitalized my appreciation for the medium, and like, it needs to go on, because we can tell these great stories relatively cheaply. And if you can draw it, you can tell it, right?
Absolutely.
It's you don't need a big budget to have armies of men fighting, shapeshifters or whatever. You can do it on the page, and this, without what's happened here with CG and what your boy Zach started and Malin and EBS and all this stuff that has sort of happened simultaneously or over time. It's brought people like me back, to the business. So, thanks. It's exciting.
Alex, you got any last little questions or comments?
I was just going to mention to all those who had a shipping boner in the chat, you can do what Shae was saying and get that priority mail flat rate legal envelope and stuff your Gemini in it and get priority shipping for under $7.50. Nice. Flat rate within the United States with tracking and $50 of insurance. So there are little secrets out there that shouldn't be secrets, I guess is my bottom line.
Sure.
So, and you fit how many comics in that Gemini
12.
when you...
12.
Yeah, exactly.
12
comics in the Gemini. It was 3 pounds something ounces. You have a weight limit up to 4 pounds in a legal flat rate envelope. So
there you go.
Boom.
So boom. So Super point is, there are ways to do this for less than $15 for shipping that you see in a lot of campaigns. I mean, you could cut it even if you included like your Geminis and stuff like that, because I've priced those too, and the bags and boards and all that kind of stuff. You can cut down your costs and get it to $10 domestic shipping and make money for every time the post office loses one of your comics.
I will second that, Alex. My shipping is $10 domestic. I'm making a profit on every one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not costing me, even after the mailer, even after the bag and board, even after the tape that I'm taping it with, the labels, everything. When I add it all up, I'm still ahead on that shipping.
Well, and that's the other thing is as long as you've got it so you can have that tracking with the insurance, if they lose it, they pay you.
Right.
Exactly.
And that would be the way to do that. Don't do that where if they lose it, you're fucked, because that just hurts you. Right. But if you do it where you can file a claim and USPS can pay you. Now, granted, understand that might take some time because it's USPS.
Right.
But as long as you fight for what you are paying for and you don't just give up on it, you actually end up coming out quite ahead. And it's like being paid for the hassle.
Well, and what it is, that's why it's called shipping and handling. You're not just paying for the postage and the materials and the envelope. You're paying for the time that the person had to take to package it and deliver it. So, it all evens out. But I think $10 generally is a reasonable domestic. 20 to 30 is reasonable foreign. We got to do something about that foreign shipping. It just eats you alive when you.
It does.
It's more than the book a lot of times.
There's.
And we have a lot of Australian fans, and that's the problem.
Yes.
It's like,
there have been some pushes to find like I guess good quality printers overseas.
Yeah.
That way, a creator in the United States could send the print file to another printer, have them printed more local. No, I'm not going to say locally, but more locally to avoid that kind of thing happening.
Right.
It's a lot. I mean, someone will do it eventually, but I've heard at least 4 different people talk about trying to get something like that going, just to save those shipping costs. And
well, I know that Critical Blast and Malin are both working on, or may already have, fulfillment services they're offering to other comic skaters, where they fulfill the orders, ship them everything. And I think that's their goal, is to try to, put it together to the point where they can pass along whatever discount they're getting as a company. Now, I don't know how they make money doing that. Obviously, they've got to make some profit somewhere doing that. Why would they want to do it? But I don't know. It's an interesting idea.
It is, and if we could find a way to do that and actually have it benefit the creators, then that would be. Well, and in reality, the customers is who it's going to benefit the most, because creators are most likely still going to have to charge crazy amounts for shipping unless we can nail something like that down. But there definitely are some options out there. It just takes a little bit more legwork, and it's a little bit more difficult to get done. I think that it's possible, though, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that what's good about the Comicsgate fans is they're used to paying ridiculous amounts of money for shipping. They just
exorbitant fees.
Yeah, they're like, whatever, I'll do it. So at least they've learned to sort of deal with it. I mean, it's a shame they have to deal with it, but that's just something we only have so much control over.
Yeah, to a certain extent they do, and I think that's why a lot of creators veer towards the digital option for people who don't want to pay $25, $35, $45 for shipping when it's something that has a lot of heft to it.
Right, and that was part of the reason why I was like, gosh, I don't want to, I can't ship these books 6 different times, because I think it'd be cool, to get a book in the mail every month, like a subscription, where you get issue 1, and then then issue 2 comes, kind of like waiting for the next episode of a TV series or something. But
that's expensive as hell,
right? Because it's a $4 comic book, and I'm having to still charge them $7 or $8 to ship it. I mean, it's twice what they paid for the book. It doesn't make any sense, So that was the problem, because even in the 80s, when Marvel would ship you the comics when you subscribed, they were in I don't know if you knew this, but they were in a brown paper bag sleeve. It wasn't even an envelope. It was a sleeve wrapped around the comic, and it was open on the ends.
So like a Playboy.
Yes, it was just a brown paper bag sleeve with a label on it. And this is how you got your X-Men, your Spider-Man, whatever you subscribed to. And because Marvel knew even back then, we can't, if people are going to subscribe, we're sending them 75-cent comic books. Yeah. We're not going to put this in a nice envelope and a bag and board. They're not going to do that. So it didn't even make sense then to mail floppies individually back then. So it is what it is. So that's probably what's preventing creators from doing floppies. So I wanted to offer floppies without you having to go through that by just sending them all together in one big shipment.
Yeah. And I agree. That's kind of the draw of making big graphic novel type books, is so you're only shipping it once.
Yeah, that is very true.
You're reading the expressions. What is my expression telling you?
And every time I read the chat, and I laugh because they went on a Fuda rant for a while there.
Nothing wrong with Fuda, except for when Boob Dan draws Fuda, then it's gross.
The backers that backed during the stream, I am sending them their secret perks links right now.
Awesome.
Is one of them a Fuda print?
Okay.
I'll back right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Ogre. Thanks, Ogre. All right. Silver Ogre. All right. Am I not supposed to say who backed me? Is that like a
No, you're doxing. So
am I doxing people by saying they backed me?
Meh. All right, so you got.
Oh my God! What?
I mean, you do, but we got one more super chat from Tony. From Tony.
Antoine.
I always
say Antoine.
I know it's Antoine, but every time I start, I always try, because I know that he said just call me Tony, and I always try to say Antonio, and I know that that's not his fucking name.
He frequents Bancroft's stream a lot. Like I see
Tony's
Antoine.
awesome. He's everywhere.
He's
hangs out with
everywhere.
us. He hangs out with us all the time. Thank you for the $5, honey. He says, great business tips, entertainment, and nostalgia all in one stream. Awesome. So, please, if you enjoyed this stream, make sure that you share it out. Make sure that we get as many people as we can to go and back Murph's awesome book, War Party. I want to see him definitely get a hell of a lot higher than 21,000. He's doing great. Like, this is phenomenal. I want it to get higher because somebody with this mentality and this kind of talent deserves to have that kind of success and is somebody that we want to stick around for a long time. So thank you so much, Murph, for hanging out with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for everything that you're doing with this comic. Thank you so much to the chat. You guys
hail the chat. You guys have been great.
Epic. You guys have been so great.
And very generous, by the way. This is a very, very, very lucrative stream, let me tell you.
Yay! Yes. I love our chat. We have some of the absolute best people, best viewers, best members, best fans out there. You guys are fucking amazing. And thanks, I guess, to Alex for co-hosting.
I guess.
You're great, Alex.
Doing stuff.
You keep us grounded.
Bring you back to Schindler's List.
Terrible. All right, you guys are amazing, and we will see you all tomorrow for Writing Pros. Please make sure you come and hang out with us for some awesome writing tips. And yeah, we'll catch you next time. See you later.
Comics great.